to take some history from you. So, do you have any kind of digestive problems or anything going on there?
As far as digestive goes, I have I've got a hiatus hernia,
Right.
little rip in my gullet. I've got a problem with my stomach acid, which is like a bacterium. I think you mentioned earlier.
I did. It's Helicobacter pylori.
There you go. So I've got that, and then I have thyroid problems. So I'm on thyroxine. I'm on 150 microgram of thyroxine. So I'm not a well chappy at all. So I find it very, very hard to shift weight. When I do, everyone mocks me and laughs at me at work because I'm constantly on a diet, and then you can't see any difference. Well, you know, the history is I have thyroid problems, and it's really hard to shift the weight. Simple as that.
You're quite right. It is really hard to shift the weight with an underactive thyroid, and so don't take any more to stop. What are you taking for any of these conditions? By what you've talked about your thyroxine.
Yeah.
Are you taking anything for the Helicobacter?
I'm taking, I don't know, it's called Zoton Fast Tab, and it's like a suppressant type of thing.
Like an antacid?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that later after the treatment as well.
Okay.
I won't fill your head too full of advice before we start, because you might be a little bit nervous about the treatment at this point.
Okay.
So it's Zoton.
With the process of the colonic irrigation, I've had one before.
Right.
It was last year in June, and I felt great after it, absolutely superb, and I did actually lose a little bit of weight after having it as well. So the balance was there, you know, it kind of like the body was like, okay, so it's almost like a reset button on my body, and I managed to lose a little bit of weight. Much comments as well from friends and family. I hadn't seen me for a while. I was like, oh, you've lost some weight. It wasn't instant. It wasn't if you were taking a load of fat out of your body, but it certainly started everything, you know, going again. But I just feel that colonic irrigations, or call them what you want, hydrotherapy, I do believe you call them. I just think the bit sensationalised on the TV. Del Winston's always gone on about them. Oh, I have a colonic. Oh, but it's not really. It shouldn't be for sensationalising, should it?
No, it shouldn't. I mean, it is a serious process. There are lots of reasons why digestion doesn't work. It may be that the stomach acid balance is incorrect. We need good, strong stomach acid to be able to digest food. We need the pancreas to be producing sufficient digestive enzymes. We hear all the time about good bacteria on adverts. We do have bacteria, and the reason that they're good is several-fold, but they carry out some processes for us that we can't. They produce some of the enzymes that we need for digestion that we can't produce for ourselves.
Right.
And so it is an issue if that gets out of balance.
Yeah.
And some of those things you can correct with colonics, but you can certainly correct with colonics and taking some advice afterwards. If nothing else, colonics is a great way of being able to have a look to see what's happening with your digestion, and whether or not your food is being digested well, whether your absorption's good, whether there is any issue there with the fauna and flora in the bowel. So it's a great diagnostic tool as well as a treatment in its own right.
Right.
And I do, because we work here at the Clinic on the Green in a clinical setting, we do tend to treat people with bowel problems.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of people through with IBS, lots of constipation, bloating problems, and problems with gas or wind, whichever way you want to call that.
Yeah.
Coming through, and 9 times out of 10 we can really do a lot to help those conditions. So I am aware that it gets very sensationalised, and there are some programmes on the television that kind of make it look like we spend all our time collecting things in Tupperware and analysing it with tongs.
Gillian McKeith, you got a lot to answer for.
But that really isn't how we work.
No.
And as you'll see when we get into the treatment, it's a very sort of clean, unmessy process, and the waste goes straight out into the soil pipe just at the other side of the wall. So you know, we're not collecting or sensationalising at all. We're really looking for clues as to how your digestion works, so we can give you good advice.
So basically, you're doing some detective work.
Absolutely, and you know, as well as being a colon hydrotherapist, I'm a nutritional therapist, fully qualified. So it means that I can give you some really good nutrition advice depending on what I see.
Fantastic.
So,
Excellent.
okay.
Well, we're not going to see the whole process in action because we'll have to put some kind of certification on the video. So I'm off to go and get the treatment now, and we'll do another little video and a catch up after I've had it done. All right. Well, just had it done, and the whole process was it's not painful or anything like that. It's very soothing and just. It's sometimes dreamy in places. It's just rather bizarre. So, you've just explained to us how did I do? Yeah, well,
what happened? Okay, well, what we did was very gradually over the past about 40 minutes introduced quite a lot of water, about 5 of these tanks, very gradually and gently through the tubing into your bowel. And what that does is it mixes with the waste, allows that waste to soften so that it can come away, and I mean very gradually you are just defecating for 40 minutes really, but you will feel sensations as you know as that happens.
Yeah. To
help things on the way we do some abdominal massage, mirroring the way that the bowel naturally moves, which you know it isn't just one straight tube, things are churned backwards and forwards for quite some time in different parts of the bowel, so we mirrored some of that with the massage. And filling up as much as you can take with water until that creates enough pressure then that stimulates your bowel to contract. We call that peristalsis, and to push out the waste. Using your feedback about how you are feeling, always using the patient's own level of comfort about how much water you can take at any one time. And just playing that by ear as we go really throughout the course of the treatment. You release quite a lot of stuff. I'm very pleased to say that was all well digested, so you know despite the problems with your stomach that you talked about at the start, your food is nonetheless digesting very well, which is good news.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't see any particular problems other than perhaps there's a little bit of sluggishness in your transit, and we can talk a little bit about what you can do to increase that and get things a little bit more fluid.
I've got a slow gut over there.
Yeah, you have got a bit of a slow gut, Chris. Yeah.
Well, all in all, I feel great. I was just saying a couple of moments ago, putting my shoes back on, I couldn't this morning tie my shoes because I felt bloated, and that is completely gone. Absolutely, because when you talk about, you know, I feel bloated now, people pat to their tummy,
yes,
but it's not necessarily connected with just that hole where the stomach acid is.
No, absolutely not. I mean, people experience bloating right up underneath their ribs sometime, and you know, throughout the whole lower part of the body, and it can be really uncomfortable. I think we kind of almost trivialise some of these things. You know, we say, "Oh, I feel a little bit bloated," but for some people, it's really quite extreme. And it's really quite distressing and uncomfortable, and does impair people being able to do fairly normal things, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, all in all, I feel great, and as I did last year as well. So I'm going to go and get some hints and tips now on how to control my thyroids through basic foods and stuff that I eat, and we'll be back with some more as of tomorrow.